832-280-0066. Gerald Celente is one of the pioneers in trend strategy. What that means is, with his Trends Research Institute and his publishing of Trends Journal, he's been able since 1980 to have a very high accuracy rate for things that no one would have expected to come true, yet they did. He's about 94% accurate. I know no one else that in as many fields is that accurate. He's here with us to share some of his current concerns. Nice to have you back with us, Gerald.
Oh, thank you so much, and it's great being back with you. It's been a while.
Gerald, let's take a look at some of the issues that I believe we need to know about. On the one hand, I believe there's another bubble out there, an economic bubble, and that is the bond bubble. Tell us about your feelings about where we're going in our current economy on Wall Street, the promotion of bonds as the best place for people to put their money, and where would you suggest people put their money, and also this exuberance on Wall Street. Look at the stocks up. That's a good indicator. And the economy's turning around. The president's announcing it. Tell us the truth about where we're at with our economy and where you see that we're going in the next year, 2, and 3 years. I only want to go 3 years out, but I'm leaving it to you now to take us through what Trends Journal and you have determined.
Well, let's first talk about whether or not it's a bubble. Let's go back to 2000 and remember the great NASDAQ crash when all that dot-com euphoria was pumping up the markets. So what happened? Well, we went into a recession following 2000. And then, of course, 9/11 happened several months later. And what did they do? They lowered interest rates to 46-year lows to pump up the deflated bubble. And they created another one. They're doing the same exact thing now, but it's only different in the sense that now they have record low interest rates, so they're creating a different kind of bubble. Because now, of course, what are there, some 12 million homes underwater, meaning that they're worth less than their mortgages if they owe back on them. And, of course, all the inventory lying around. So they can't create a real estate bubble because that money's not there anymore. So now they're creating another bubble. It's a credit card bubble, it's an auto bubble, and it's a student loan bubble. Student loans, for example, now are over $1 trillion. You look at how the economy is recovering, well, they've conned the people in again to loading up on credit card debt. And I'm not making this up. You could go back and you could look at the increases in credit card debt for November, December, January, and February, and you can see the spike. So people are now going back into debt because, of course, happy days are here again. And where's the proof of those happy days? Well, as you mentioned, look at the stock market. Wow, it's trading around 13,000. Huh. Gee, wasn't it trading at 14,000 in 2007 when the bubble was just beginning to burst from the real estate crash and all of those wonderful exotic financial instruments? Gee, it's 1,000 points lower than that. Oh, and how about the NASDAQ? Well, the NASDAQ's over 3,000. But, gee, wasn't the NASDAQ at 5,000 back in 2000? And now it's at a measly 3,000? Then we see why all of this looks like any kind of recovery at all. Remember, all things are connected. The system should have collapsed around the end of December as we looked at it. But alas, it didn't. And you were talking about those wonderful bonds. Those wonderful bonds over in Italy and in Spain and in Portugal. They were trading at rates that was unsustainable for the countries to issue them. But what happened? Well, the other branches of the central banks run over there by Mario Draghi, and you mentioned Goldman Sachs. Well, Mario was the former vice chairman of Goldman Sachs when they did the deal to squeeze Greece into the European Monetary Union. And what they did was now under Mario, they've loaned the banks around Europe just about all the money that they want. And don't worry, pay me back in 3 years at very low interest rates. So in essence, what they've done, they've pumped in about 1.4 trillion euros, gave it to the banks to keep pumping up the phony bond market that any sensible human being would not buy from Spain, from Greeks, from Italy, from Portugal, from Ireland. But the Ponzi scheme continues because they gave their buddies the money to keep pumping up the economy to make it look like it's refloated. It should have collapsed, but they keep coming up with these schemes undreamed of, and it never stops. So right now in the U.S., for example, as I said, with these record low interest rates that are going to go on, now they're saying to late 2014. I mean, it's 2012 we're in. Late 2014 is 3 years from now. What does it mean? Well, it means that if you're a person that doesn't want to gamble in the rigged game called the stock market, you have no choice because you can't put your money in the bank because the bank isn't going to give you back anything for taking your money. So now you're being, and all those people out there, the elderly, the people with, small retirement nest eggs, they have no place to put their money. What are they doing? Well, they're spending it because it's not doing anything where it's lying around. So this is a fake bubble again. It's the same bubble as the bubble of 2000, but it's only different in the terms of what it's blowing up.
Okay, just two more quick questions because I know you're on a busy schedule. One, do you believe that it makes any difference whatsoever who's president of the United States between Obama or the Republicans as far as the future of helping the average person, the working class person, protecting unions, benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security? Do you believe that the environment, do you believe that either of these parties are capable of making any real positive change in the United States?
Just before I answer that, you would ask me another question, and I didn't answer it. I forgot. Where am I putting my money? I don't give investment advice. I'm only invested in gold and a little bit of silver. Gold today shot up about $20 an ounce, and I believe here's a scenario, and we've been pretty accurate since 2002 on this. Gold has a downside risk, we believe, if it breaks below $15.50 an ounce. Then it could go down to the 1400s, but we're still in it for the long term. The next breakout point, when it goes to 2000, is when gold breaks above 1825. Do I believe it makes any difference to who gets elected? We're already hearing from many people they're going to be, again, voting for a lesser of two evils. What self-respecting human being would vote for a lesser of two evils? How about you're voting for the better of two con men? Let's call it what it is. Who is going to do a better job for you? The Republicans or the Democrats or the Gambinos or the Bananos? Let's call it what it is. It's a criminal operation run by the Gang of 535. That's how many senators and congressmen there are there. It's not going to make one bit of difference. The only way it's going to make a difference is which pocket will they take it out of and which bullet will they put in your head or will they put it in your back. That's the only difference. How any self-respecting human being could vote for a Democrat or a Republican, it's a disgrace. How much more proof do they need? And I'm so sick and tired, and I especially hear it from women. Oh, I like Obama. Oh, you like Obama, huh? Oh, you like the National Defense Authorization Act. Oh, it's a beauty, isn't it? Oh, you like the raping of the Constitution with now the new executive order that he could take over any place, anytime, anywhere. Oh, you love it. The troop surge in Afghanistan, 100,000 more troops there. Oh, you love it that he's given all your money to the too big to fails. And you go down the list, one lie. Oh, Guantanamo. What did they turn it into a resort, didn't they? Or is he the slumlord over there? You give them one piece of information over and over again how Obama has shafted them, and they'll say, well, why did he do it? Why did he do it? Why did Jack the Ripper do what he did? Why can't anybody call it what it is? So it's not going to make any difference, but I'll tell you, Gary, they're still going to drink the Kool-Aid, and they'll still pull the lever for the people that are going to screw them again.
Final question. This coming Monday evening on my Progressive Commentary Hour, I intend to do a very hard-hitting show, 1, 2, or 3 hours, however long it takes for these scholars, these constitutional scholars, to share their insights. But I intend to go through each one of the things that the previous administration and this administration have put together that directly eviscerates our constitutional rights, our Bill of Rights, and our freedoms, including our freedom of speech, our freedom of assembly, our freedom to protest, our freedom to even chat about protest, the Patriot Act, the Domestic Security Enhancement Act, the National Emergency Act, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, the Military Commission Act, the National Defense Authorization Act, the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act, Model State Health Emergency Powers Act, H.R. 645 National Emergency Centers Establishment Act, the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act, Brady Bill, Defense Production Act of 1950, still in use now. Executive orders, you just mentioned one, the National Defense Resources Executive Order, which literally allows the President of the United States in a non-wartime environment to create martial law with no opportunity for redress by anyone. Executive Order 12919, Executive Order 13438, Presidential Directive 51, the NSPD 59, the NSPD 20, and PD 5. What do you want to bet that 99.99% of all academics, lawyers, and jurists are clueless about everything that I just mentioned, and the average public doesn't want to know? Yet these are exactly what they will use to state that we are a nation of laws, and because we're a nation of laws, these laws will govern the outcome. Therefore, if you wish to protest, you can be arrested. You can be rendered anywhere. So we're going to take this on. What do you think of our country? Or I should say it this way. Do you feel that we are becoming a fascist police state or not? And what's your evidence? And what would you suggest we the people do?
Are we becoming? No, we've become. The merger of state and corporate powers, by definition, is fascism. And fascism has come to America. And when you mention that executive order, the one where the president could say, what's the name of it? The one that they just passed, he signed. On Friday night, after Washington was closed down and it never made the media, what's the proper name of that?
Which one?
Where the president could take over and take over farms, corporations, declare martial law, in essence.
Yes.
What's the correct name of it?
That is the national. Wait, I just hit a mental blank here. I had it in my mind.
You just repeated it.
Yeah. Go ahead. I don't have.
Anyway, what that one does, it provides for, quote, a potential threat. A potential threat. When does potential begin and when does it end? Potential is forever. Is fascism here? How much more proof does anybody need? Where's it going to go and what should we do? The people have to stand up and speak out. Here's what I suggest. No one vote in 2012. Don't vote. Don't vote for a lesser of... I'm only speaking for myself. I would never vote for a lesser of two evils. I have too much self-respect, dignity, and courage.
I
How could anyone... Because if we get a turnout under 40%, we can then all say this election is illegitimate. That's my only solution, and my other one, of course, is direct democracy. They do it in Switzerland. They just had a number of issues up. If 100,000 people believe there should be a referendum on an issue, and of course we're a much bigger country, they have, 11 million, we're 300 million, we could bring it at another number. Let the people vote.